Red edition, hey, let me get right to the point. Criminals carry guns, so should we. Otherwise, they get to win. And you know what? One more thing. If only police have guns, guess what? That would be called a police state. How am I doing? Are you with me? Because that's kind of bad stuff. We should all be allowed to carry a firearm. I mean, imagine having to beg somebody for approval to defend your life or the life of the loved ones that you have around you and other people also. Come on already. Canada in particular I'm talking to, because in the U.S., of course, you can do that. In Canada, you can't still. It's against the law. The Liberals brought that in back in the 90s. They took away all that right to self-defense stuff, and the Conservatives, all the times that they have had, I think it's 3, maybe 4, conservative governments with majorities, they haven't brought back the basic fundamental rights of life. Get them at all that, will you, all you Canadian types. Air Canada, they now have a 45-minute check-in rule. They're telling customers, if you're not checked in 45 minutes before a flight, you just don't get to get on that airplane. There are no exceptions. There's all kinds of people, of course, who have encountered this since it became law just recently, and everybody's mad. But you know what? They don't know the slogan of Air Canada. I do. I can share it with people. It's this: Air Canada, we're happy when you're not. That's pretty much it. Hey, kind of tells the story. Ohio, there's a gun group there now that has raised a whole bunch of money, and they've written a check and they've sent it on to George Zimmerman, and they said, here, George, they being the bad guys, probably are going to keep coming after you. Here's $12,000. Go buy a gun. The State Department won't give your gun back. You were found innocent. You didn't do anything bad. You didn't do anything wrong. On the contrary, you defended your life. The jury thought so. Everybody thinks so, from the right at least. You got some left-wing whacks that are saying, hey, they don't even care. And these are people in charge of the country. Right? Left. And he says, I don't have my gun back. My life is, in jeopardy here. People have threatened me. A lot of left-wing whack types are looking for me, and I don't have a gun. I can buy one. Don't have much money now. They've said I'm $12,000. Good for them. A long story there for a short thing, and you all know the drill. But it's kind of interesting, isn't it, when you're successful in court and they don't give your gun back? Come on already. What country is this? Trudeau in Canada, he says, he jumps all over. He's consistent with his inconsistencies, right? He's very flexible. He's rigidly flexible in that he'll kind of decide to say something based on what other people say he should say. Does that make sense? How am I doing with that little rat? In any event, he's now rolled all of that into marijuana. He's saying, hey, it's okay, I'm going to legalize marijuana, but it should be taxed. I have never met a liberal who didn't want to have something legalized so they could tax it and regulate it, because that's what they do. And people say, hey, if it was regulated, it would be cheaper. Not so fast. When the government gets involved in anything, I dare say it's better and easier to be illegal. But when they get involved, things are out of control, because they set up all kinds of agencies to operate and to run what they've just created. Well, you know the drill on that one as well. It's cumbersome. But here's the kicker about evidence. He says there's all kinds of evidence that if we legalize marijuana in Canada, he says, the Liberals, it will take it and keep it out of the hands of children. Not so fast, because that's not true. Where do y'all get this evidence? Oh, I know, you're a liberal. You don't have evidence. You're just talking because you're trying to get votes. That's what liberals do. They want people to vote for them. That's it. Kind of ends there. Cigarette taxes. I mean, let's look at this. You have high cigarette taxes, finally. You have to, because of all the regulations and taxations and things with that. And the Indian reserves now and the underground economy, it's a huge business. And the police are just off their feet trying to regulate that, and it's just tough. The sale of regulated tax marijuana will create a market for untaxed, unregulated marijuana, much like the illegal market I've just referred to as cigarettes. And evidence also shows that pot is very harmful to the developing brain of children. And liberals, they don't have much of a brain. They don't have to worry about it, I guess. I'm talking about conservative children. Hey, just say it. Consumption can cause permanent damage. Smoking pot contributes to decreased cognition, impaired memory, and the onset of schizophrenia. And the adult rate of addiction who smoke pot as teenagers is extremely high. People who smoke pot to relax, which is achieved by diminishing their functions. including concentration, thinking and coordination, and heavy. Users report lower life satisfaction, more accidents at work, and the type of lung problems associated with smoking cigarettes. So these are the same people in the Liberal government that say, let's get rid of smoking cigarettes, but it's okay now to smoke pot. The consistency there, if there is any, is just about their brain power. I think they've already been smoking too much pot. This is coming from a non-pot user. I mean, I don't know that I know. The distribution system is set up, the liquor board, the liquor stores in every province in Canada. What a great place to sell the pot and regulate it, etc. But the problem is the tax money that the government gets wouldn't be used to reduce debt, because that's not what they're about, because they're a bunch of left-wing whacks. Even the people who are in charge now, or in power rather, that would be the Conservatives. A rising addiction, keeping on here with addictions with use, particularly in Japan. Smartphones, big issue now in South Korea. There as well, every country pretty much, but in particular in Japan and South Korea. But South Korea, let me talk about them. They say, we got plans to provide nationwide counseling programs for youngsters, and they're going to regulate that because, of course, that's what they do. Commie guys, they are. Let me end today with a story on a much lighter note. Are you ready? Here it comes. A labor union representative walks into a bar, and the bar is right beside the factory, and he's an Obama supporter. He's a liberal, blah, 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 blah. In any event, he notices one guy, the bartender behind the bar, has a Republican button on, and you lost, ha, ha. He says, around for the House, but none for you, Republican. The Republican smiled and, thanked him, and he was a little bewildered by this. He did it again and again. 10 rounds later, he said to one other fellow who worked at the bar, he says, every time I order around for the House and I yell out, not for the Republican, he smiles and he waves and he thanks me. What's wrong with that guy? He's the owner. Y'all come back tomorrow. We're going to have more for you from the right. See ya.